What's up, everybody? This is Gene Snitsky, former WWE superstar, probably most known for that. Also played a little bit of pro football and recently won the silver medal at the Arnold Sports Fest in a little weightlifting competition. But hey, all powered by Vitargo, baby. Get yours now at Vitargo.com. But I'm here today to interview my buddy, my good friend, my old pal, Tyler Ray, otherwise known as Wolverine, coming off a big victory this past weekend over Sammy Garrett. Tyler, what's up there, buddy?
How you doing? Thanks for
I'm
having
doing
me.
great. Oh, if I had any more people asking me how Tyler Ray's doing today, I'd have to start my own blog. Anyways, congratulations on the big win. You smoked that guy, had pretty much control the whole fight. What was your mindset going into this big fight on Friday night? And tell us a little bit about what you did to prepare for the big fight.
So the mindset going into this fight was just to go in with my game plan, which was just basically pressure, step on the gas pedal the whole time, put up a pace that he couldn't keep up with. And I knew that the finish was going to present itself at some point in the fight. So I knew that once the finish was there, I needed to capitalize on that. And that's what I did. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed I couldn't get a finish earlier, but he was a tough kid and was pretty good at defending submissions and regaining his defense and composure and stuff. So, I mean, all in all, I think it was a great performance, a great fight. And leading up to this, it's been like the world's longest fight camp because I was supposed to fight in December. I had a fight scheduled in December, then January, then February, and all of those were canceled due to opponents pulling out. I've gone through 6 different opponents leading up to this fight, just having a hard time getting a fight. So it's been like the world's longest training camp. And in between training for fights and this fight, I also helped the current UFC welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman, get ready for his title fight. So there really was no breaks off since November. I've just been grinding, and I'm just glad that I finally got to get in the cage and show what I've been working on. I can't hear.
Tyler? Oh, mine is?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. So basically, Tyler, what I was saying was, as a fellow pro athlete, you get in that mindset, man, and you're ready to rock and roll. And then last second, it changes on you. How do you mentally revamp and get ready for the new opponent that you were unexpected?
So the biggest thing in our sport of MMA is obviously the opponent changes and stuff like that can happen, and you have to just be prepared for it. So what I've found in talking with guys that are farther along in the sport than myself, like some of the veterans in my gym and stuff, is they just say you need to be aware of whatever your opponent's good at and what he's not, but you never should game plan specifically for one opponent, because at the end of the day, when you go in there, you still got to fight your fight. You shouldn't be fighting the fight to prevent his things. You should be fighting the fight to get your offense going and make him prevent you. So it should always be your fight. So in our sport, It's not that difficult when the opponent changes come and stuff, because you just go and rewatch like a fight or two of this guy, see what he's good at, and you're aware of it, and then you go from there. It always stems back to what you're going to do in the cage, and if you don't have that mindset, then you shouldn't be in there, because if you're trying to fight his fight, then that's exactly where he wants you to be. So you should always be in the mindset to fight your fight. You just got to readjust in case maybe a guy's got a good right hand, so you might circle to the right to stay out of his power range, or maybe he's a southpaw and he's got a good straight left, so you circle to the left. It's just little things like that. You make minor adjustments and you continue to go.
Yeah. And as you were saying, you get out there and you're kind of fighting your fight, so you get in that mindset that you want to tear anybody apart. Doesn't matter who they put in front of you. And the nice thing is, you're you're more on the offensive end in the fight, and you pretty much had control the whole time. I was in the guard and all that kind of stuff. Kind of ground and pounded them there pretty steadily and throughout the first round. And like you said earlier, it was nice that you knew the finish was going to come. It was just a matter of time. And I was like thinking to myself, man, when's he going to finish him? When's he going to finish him? So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. But touching upon the training again, I know Vitargo is an integral part of your training program as well as mine. I think it's the best supplement out there. I've stood by it for years. I love it. I use it every day to this day. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with Vitargo, why you love it so much, and how it helped to prepare for the fight.
Yeah, so I got involved with Vitargo about a year ago with Dr. Doug Kalman. Showed it to me to help me out with rehydration and stuff after my weight cut. And I had a couple bad weight cuts prior, and rehydration process didn't go so well. And I had told him about that, so he recommended Vitargo to me and got me on that. And after that weight cut, I used it, and I had never felt better. My rehydration, my weight gain, and everything was perfect. And so ever since then, I had been using it. And just recently, I got in touch with all the people at Vitargo, and just recently started being able to work with them as far as rehydration, my weight gain, and everything was perfect.
Oh, look at that! I got you on stereo.
And so I use Vitargo every day, pre, post, and during training. It fuels all my workouts. I eat pretty much close to a paleo diet as I can. But I mean, in my sport, it's hard to compete and train at that level without carbohydrates, and I recognize that. But my body doesn't do too well with gluten and other things like that, so I have to have a pretty strict diet. But Vitargo gives me the ability to get the carbohydrates in me that I need, because I know it's not realistic to do MMA and train the way I do on the strict paleo diet. I'm not ignorant or anything. So I know I got to get the carbs in, and Vitargo has been a lifesaver when it comes to that.
Yeah, especially with you guys going, 3-5 minutes clips. It's not something that you want to try to just get by on without being properly fueled, no doubt. I mean, you're a young guy. You're only 26, man. I'm pushing 50, but you never tell it, but because I'm pretty jacked. But but it definitely helps with recovery, like you said, and I use it every day as well. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to train as hard as I did if I didn't use it. So just can't thank those guys enough for helping us out. I know you'd feel the same way because you just won that big fight against Sammy. And you spoke about your club down in Florida a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the Black Zillions and what they mean to you.
All right. So, when I originally moved down here, I was a part of the Black Zillions. We've since then split up, and kind of half the team went their separate ways. And so now, like the other half, we kind of started our own thing down in Fort Lauderdale. It's called Hard Knocks 365. And if I were to name the list of fighters that we have in UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, I could be here all day. It's ridiculous the amount of guys that I'm thankful and blessed that I get to train with every single day. I mean, the list of superstars goes on. And so I'm able to sit and watch these guys and see the lifestyles that they live and how they train every single day and what they do. And I'm able to take some of that stuff and add it to my routine and live my life the same way. Like one of the biggest guys on the team that I really like to model myself after is Kamaru Usman. He just recently won the UFC welterweight title, and I was able to help him out with his last fight and get some rounds in with him in sparring and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, and see firsthand how he lived his life. And I always like to say it's like a championship mindset, and he really signifies that when it comes to what he does every single day, inside and outside of the cage, as a father and as a professional fighter, and his diet and just everything is to the T. And that's kind of how I try and live my life, because if you're trying to get there and then like I always found that the guys that get their title shots and then all of a sudden try and make these changes to become the champion, it's too late, because you should have already been living like that. And you can't just make changes all of a sudden and expect to win the belt. Like a lot of times in MMA, you'll see guys that bust their ass and go ahead and get a title shot, and then all of a sudden once they get the title shot, they start changing coaches or their training schedule changes, this and that, and then they lose the shot. It's like they didn't do what got them to the rodeo. It's like the whole saying that I like to go by. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. And so,
Right.
and you need to start living that way in the first place. And I'm lucky enough to be able to see the way these guys live their life every single day and kind of model myself after it. So it's a huge blessing being able to train with the team that I train with, and that I'm in the situation that I'm in. And I never take it for granted.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And actually, I worked out a few times with Ryan Jim. Unfortunately, he passed away at a young age, but he was one of my buddies. He was a badass dude, man. I liked working out with him. Had some really good workouts with him, man. I just wanted to drop his name real quick. He was one of my best friends, man. He kind of,
that was
crappy what happened, but you know who I'm talking about. But
yeah, exactly.
It means a lot from where you come from, man. Like, I grew up in a small town, Nesquehoning, and like, I'm sure nobody's ever heard of that. And I would tell people, hey, you're gonna see me play in the NFL or WWE someday, and it's never where you're going. It's kind of where you're from. I always hear people say, "Oh, it's not where you're from, it's where you're going." I think it's kind of the opposite, man. So it's cool that you still have that kind of relationship with all those guys. And when you go to battle with somebody, it kind of sticks with you for the rest of your life. You can trust those guys, and they got your back. So that's cool, man. That's real cool. Tell me a little bit about the Legacy Fighting Alliance, man. I'm not super familiar with it. I did a little bit of research on it, but fill in all the viewers out there that don't know much about the Legacy Fighting Alliance.
Yeah, so LFA is it's shown on Access TV. It's owned by Ed Suarez. He's one of the managers for a few different UFC fighters like Anderson Silva and Brian Ortega, but he is now the president and owner of LFA. And LFA originally was Legacy Alliance and RFA, which was another organization on the West Coast. They merged and became LFA. And so the way MMA works is there's always a bunch of different promotions and stuff. UFC is like the top dog, just like the NFL would be for football. And from there, Bellator is also another top dog. So UFC and Bellator are the two top promotions, UFC being the biggest one. Like, it'd be like a football player wanting to play in the NFL, MMA for UFC. And then the way it works from there is there's a lot of other there's a ton of other promotions. And the way MMA, the journey works is usually you'll go amateur, you'll go pro, but you'll stay in the local circuit. You'll only fight in your little region. And then once you become successful through your region, you start to break out into like the Midwest or the East Coast, West Coast shows. And then all of a sudden you break to that national stage, which is countrywide, it's on television and stuff. And that's where LFA is at. And that's pretty much the last step before the UFC. Dana White has said numerous times how LFA is his number one favorite promotion to recruit the up and coming fighters. Like, even in their intros, they say LFA where the future is now. And it's been on that show, Dana White's looking for a fight, where he always attends the fights and scouts the crowd and stuff like that.
Right.
So he loves the organization. He actually calls it the UFC's developmental league. So it's basically like the D League for the NBA. But so that's where I'm at now. But I started out there. I had one amateur fight and skipped. Usually as an amateur, you need to have 5 amateur fights and then you go pro. I skipped all of mine and went out to South Dakota, where the athletic commission's pretty lenient. And I just went straight to pro because my manager and coaches felt like I didn't need any more amateur experience. And I went straight to the LFA stage. I didn't do the local pro circuit. I didn't do the regional circuit or anything like that. I went straight to the biggest stage because that's just the confidence my coach as a manager had in me, and that's also how much I believed in myself. And I've been there ever since. And I actually had a fight on Bellator, so you could argue that I've had a fight on the second biggest stage in MMA so far, and I've only had 5 fights. And so now the goal is just continue to build myself up in LFA until the UFC gives me that call, because I'm basically to that point in my career where 1 or 2 more fights and I could just get a last minute call from the UFC, or they could just offer me a contract. I'm just about to that point in my career where the call's coming, and I expect to see myself in the UFC sooner than later.
No, that's awesome, man, and best of luck. We're behind you 100%. I'll be watching you. But wanted to touch upon one other thing. Well, actually, a couple other things. Hopefully, you have enough time. I get rambling here. But tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into MMA and what you were doing before MMA. Did you play college sports? Did you come right out of high school and get involved? Give us a little bit of background on the Wolverine.
Yeah, so MMA. The reason I found MMA was I used to play hockey as a little kid in MMA school. George Gergel's school opened up right around the corner from where I lived at, and I asked my dad. Me and him used to watch like the old school UFCs on TV, like back when Frank Mir was breaking Tim Sylvia's arm and arm bars and stuff, like super old school. And I was like, hey, there's a gym down there. I go over there and cross train and do it for fun, for conditioning, for hockey. And he sent me over there, and then I ended up falling in love with it. And a year later, I quit hockey altogether, pursued MMA full time, and we were watching it. My dad's like, all these champions have wrestling backgrounds. So as soon as he said it, I go straight out for the high school wrestling team, started wrestling as a freshman. By the time I came around to graduate high school, I started getting recruited for college and ended up going to college and wrestled in college for 4 more years. And then from there is when I got recruited to come down to the Black Stallions in Florida. And I had already known that MMA was what I wanted to do once I finished college. So it was like a done deal for me as soon as they asked me to come down.
Nice. Yeah, another good friend of mine you might have heard of, Bobby Lashley. He's involved in the fight game now too a little bit. Well, not so much now that he's back with WWE, but another guy, man, I trained with, and I'm one of those guys, man. I give credit where credit's due, and I mean, besides probably football, well, probably the actual contact with wrestling and all the years of football. I could kind of respect, what you guys do as far as the actual impact on your bodies and how hard you guys train. Like I said, I worked out with Ryan a couple of times, and I trained with Bobby a lot. And I know Batargo fuels the machine down there with you. And I mean, it takes a lot of calories to do what you guys do. It takes a lot of mental fortitude. I give you guys all the respect in the world, and I just know that a lot of people sitting at home don't really realize the time, the effort, the cliche blood, sweat, and tears that goes into the training part of it. People see like the fights and they think, oh, you're going to sweat and pop. They don't realize, the length of time you put into training, your diet, your conditioning. I mean, it's 100% go, man. It's like it's crazy what all goes into it. And like I said, man, I got the utmost respect for you guys and what you do. And I got a lot of friends that do it. Jake Hager's another buddy of mine. He wrestled with me at WWE as well. And I just saw him win his first fight too. So it's cool, man. It's nice to have that connection. So I had one more thing I wanted to ask you. Give us a little bit of your background on the actual training program. We kind of briefly touched about it before. I wanted to see, like, do you do more weights? Is it more conditioning? Is it a blend? Is it like 60-40, 70-30? Like, what did you do training physically to lead up for the big fight? Okay. Okay. All right, guys, we lost connection here for a second. We're trying to get Tyler back with us. Anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Tyler or myself about Vitargo, about training, about the fight? You name it, we'll answer it. So let me see if I could message him, maybe. I didn't see it. No, I just shot him a message. I was just laughing. I'm like, it never fails, man. You know, with this amazing technology you have these days. That's cool. That's fun. I told you, man. I'm not only a pretty face. I'm also, you know, they call me the Howard Cosell of Orangeburg. You're saying,
Hey, hey, uh, hey, Gene. Gene, can you hear?
yes,
Can you
I can
hear
hear
me?
you. Hello.
Hey, I got a question. I'm coming in from the audience. I got a question. So you train with Vitargo. What's your training like? Like, what does it look like today? You're going to the gym, or what do you got on your agenda, and what does it look like for you?
Well, basically, when I'm bulking up, I do a scoop or two about an hour or so before I work out with a scoop of whey protein or Vitargo Post. And then I'll do intra workout. I'll do a scoop of Vitargo with a scoop of protein, and then post workout I do the Vitargo Post. That's my regimen right now. I'm just finishing up my bulk. I just maxed last week, so this is the first week of the cutting cycle. And now I'll cut it back to like a scoop during the workout, and then a scoop after, and then however I feel, I'll monitor that because I'll be instituting more cardio now. I'll work up to an hour of cardio a day on the rower and stuff like that. So I just kind of gauge it by feel after that. I've been doing it so long. It's like this is my 35th, 36th year of working out. So I kind of know my body enough now, and I've been using Vitargo for so long. It's, you know, I kind of just, I can monitor it on the fly kind of thing.
Sweet, sweet. Hey, it looks like we got Tyler back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
Hey,
actually,
Tyler, you have to go to the bathroom or what? You could have just asked.
yeah, my phone just completely shut down like out of nowhere. I don't know if it was updating or something, but it did something to me.
Well, I don't know what you had heard from me. I was asking you, we touched upon your workout regimen a little earlier, but we didn't really go into depth. I was curious as to the length of the workout time. How you know, did you do more cardio as opposed to, was it a 60-40 blend, a 70-30? Like what did you guys do to prepare for the fight as far as the physical part of it?
Yeah, so our training is Monday through Saturday. We have practice every single day from 10 till about 12. And that's always MMA specific stuff. Like Monday is MMA drills, Tuesday is sparring, Wednesday strictly wrestling, Thursday is MMA sparring, and then Friday jiu-jitsu. Saturdays we do a fight circuit. So that's Monday through Saturday every single day in the morning. And then Tuesday and Thursday I have strength and conditioning at 4 o'clock. And then I'll always have like pads with my striking coach Henry, or I'll do jiu-jitsu at night. And Monday I'll do, it depends on what I do in each evening, but I'm always Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I always have another practice in the evening. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have 3 practices a day. All of them are about 2 hours to an hour. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is always 2 practices, about 2 hours apiece. And then Saturdays, we'll do 1 2-hour practice. And then Sundays is like active recovery. I'm the kind of guy that I just can't take a full day off. I go crazy. And
I'm
honestly,
the same way, dude. I'm the same way.
I mean, honestly, when I do try and take a full day off, I actually feel worse the next day after anyways, because I just think if I get out and just do something light and get the lactic acid moving and stuff like that, I feel better and more prepared for the week ahead than if I take the whole day off. So even on my recovery days, I'm out riding the bike or going for a light run or doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cool trails here where I live in Pennsylvania, so I'll try to get out on the mountain bike if the weather's permitting, or take a nice hike, or, you know, I'm an outdoors kind of guy, so I like to be outside doing stuff too. But yeah, it's crazy how much time and effort you have to put into it and how many calories. Have you ever had your caloric expenditure measured through the test system?
I've never had it measured down to like the exact calorie, but I mean, I know when I'm cutting weight, I'm eating between probably 1,200 to 2,000 calories a day. It's very small to when I'm in the about like the 5 to 6 weeks prior to the 3-week weight cut. I'm probably eating anywhere from on certain days, it could be anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 calories, just depending. I mean, it sounds like a lot on some of those days for someone my size, but I mean, the amount of calories you burn in a day, you gotta make sure your body's full and ready to go. So
Yeah, I would have to assume you're burning mucho calories, man, because I'm 285 right now, and I probably eat 3 to 5,000 calories a day. That's just to maintain my body weight. And you guys are going some 3 times a day. So, and with the conditioning drills and the weight training, and 6 days a week, 7 days with the active recovery, you're burning a lot of calories, man. You're a calorie burning machine. So the Vitargo definitely helps with that. I know that. What else as far as like preparation goes? Is it more of like you want to hit a certain body weight in a certain time? Like I know your body weight fluctuates a lot. So what was your body weight? I know you weighed in at 269.4. What was your actual body weight the night of the fight when you actually were showed up for the fight?
yeah, so by the time I fought on Friday night, I was back up to 193.
Wow.
And so I'm about 24, 23 pounds and a little less than 24 hours. But
wow. How'd you feel? How'd you feel with gaining that much weight that fast?
It feels good when you do it the right way. I mean, that was ideal. That's what we expected to fight at, so that was all part of the plan. It didn't feel foreign or anything. That's what I've done before. But sometimes you have a botched weight cut or something and you put a bunch of weight on like that super fast, you actually can feel loaded down in the cage and slower, lethargic in there sometimes. So a lot of guys, after they weigh in, they'll be like, all right, let's go get big and put a bunch of weight back on. And sometimes that's not really the smartest thing to do. You need to obviously eat till you feel fueled and rehydrate till your body's back to normal. But if you eat too much and get too big, it's actually going to be make you slower in the cage and not in your reaction times and everything go down. So we were expecting to fight around 190 to 194. But usually when I'm not cutting weight, like my weight cut is 3 weeks out from the fight, I'll do that. And around in the 3 week weight cut, I'm usually walking around between 185 to 190. But before that, I pretty much I stay around 200, and I'll carry that for the whole fight camp, and then start the 3 week cut from about 200, and then out of camp. Like right now, the past 3 days, I kind of have been indulging in some pies and pizzas and stuff like that. And so I'm about like 205, 210 ish right now, but I'll start bringing it back down again next week when I start fight camp again.
Yeah. I have a weakness for chocolate peanut butter ice cream.
Oh, been getting.
Yeah, I like my ice cream. I was just saying while we lost you, I was talking about I just started my cutting cycle, so I'll be cutting back a little bit myself, adding some cardio and stuff. I just finished up my bulk, but I know you guys go through hell, man. It's quite a transition. It's quite a feat. I'm excited about you joining the Team Vitargo. I know everybody else is, and I'll tell you what, man. It's cool to be able to interact with other athletes, and this platform Vitargo has given us is cool. I can't wait to meet everybody in person. I'm stuck up here in the coal mines of Pennsylvania, dying to come out to some nice warm weather where I could run around in my board shorts. But I just want to thank you for your time, man. This was great. It's nice to get to meet you. It's cool to, like I said, do the interview. And I know everybody at Vitargo is stoked to have you on board. And anything you'd like to say in ending our amazing interview?
I mean, no, pretty much you summed it up. I mean, I'm thankful and blessed to be a part of Team Vitargo. I'm glad to be able to know everybody so far through the phone and the little face-to-face that we have on the phone. And I'd love to be able to meet everybody in person. And you for sure got to come down and visit me here in South Florida. We can get you out on the beach in your little Speedo or something. But yeah, man, I'm pumped and I'm looking forward to the future. And I'm glad I got to do this interview with you and talk to you. It's pretty sick being able to talk to other athletes who have peaked the mountain in their sports and just see how their mindsets are and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool, man. And I'll definitely I'll have to get a Brazilian before I come down because you don't want to see me in a Speedo, trust me.
You'll fit in with all the Brazilians.
But I thanks again, my man. It was cool. I'll keep abreast of everything with you on Instagram. Now that we're best buddies on Instagram.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. I enjoyed it 100%. And good luck with all the upcoming fights, man. I'll be watching. And keep kicking butt. Keep using your Vitargo. And hope to see you. Wish you the most success in the world, man. Nice meeting you.
Thanks. You appreciate it. Nice meeting you too.
No worries, buddy. And if you don't go out and buy your Vitargo right now,